Oh. Okay, here we are now. Finally getting on. I don't know if that alarm is... Just set off the smoke alarm. Anyhow, see if Frank gets in here. We'll do an episode of Seeking Truth. Finding Frank and Fraser. Spent a lot of time today preparing for a party we're going to have. So William and I are planning a party called Mandaramus. It's made up. Basically, it's picking up cheap stuff. I actually have the whole bags of stuff. Masks from Halloween thing. But we'll need some heroes and home bags, right? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Frank will like this one. Maybe Frank will. Old gifts. Chocolates that you buy after Valentine's Day. You know, 10% the original price. These were actually dollar store masks, but usually the original idea was, this was between a friend and I, that you get like, you know, when you go, oh Jesus, again, the pharmacy is really good for this. Right after a certain holiday, like in the days following, they'll just liquidate their stocks. So you get costumes for like 10, 25% of the price. Right after Christmas, anything that says Christmas on it, 10, 25% of the cost. Same thing, Valentine's Day. So we stock up over a few of these holidays and have a bunch of good stuff. You can have costumes, gifts, and just really silliness. That's what Mandaramus is about. So this weekend, it just so happened that we had, you know, a list of activities to do, and we're like, hey, why don't we invite some people? And then in the inspiration of it, he's got his uncle. I'm going to take this off here. I wonder what Frank's at. Anyways, waiting on Frank, I'll just give it more explanation. Rump. The light doesn't fall on me. My light's set up right now. So, boom, we found this like cheap foosball table. We get all this going on still. We're going to do a big cleanup. Whoa! And we went a weird way with the light here. Well, we found this like really cheap thing. Getting Dollarama, a couple bucks. I'm like, wow, I've got a light that fits right inside of that thing. So, now I've got the new chandelier. The Dollarama chandelier. Anyhow, super excited. We're going to clean up a bunch of this stuff and have some people over. We've spent some, or sent some invites out, a Facebook event, as it were. Set up a few things. Well, set up a few things. I mean, there's free stuff going on. Basically, the City of Montreal is providing us with some activities. Swimming pool tomorrow, 2 to 4. I probably say it is online. I shouldn't say where it is and stuff. Anyways, I would invite you all, but it's actually a private event. I just invited all my Facebook friends, that's all. We'll see how, it doesn't even matter, right? William and I are going to do it anyways. We're going to go to the swimming pool. We're going to come back here, make Lego movies. I thought like, oh, wouldn't that be great if we had like a whole bunch of hands, like 20 different hands, just the whole village is moving, and that's the film. That's how we animate it. Just like a million hands. It's great. Don't know where we're going to fit the camera in, but anyways, foosball table, that's all going with it. It is super cheap, doesn't have legs. Doesn't matter. In my pile of junk, I'm going to find something that has legs and needs a foosball table on top of it. And a bunch of furniture, places to sit, because people are coming over. No one really ever comes over here because it's a super player. You know the only people that ever visited this place? It was good friends. Well, we came over here often now, and then she left me the apartment. People, William's best friend. I was going to say my best friend's brother, who stayed here for 6 months. Oh, he was not the best of us. Doesn't matter. We're still best friends. Good friends. I say best friends, but got like the Eastern best friend and the Western best friend. The Western best friend is who I grew up with, and the Eastern best friend is kind of like, it's the best friend. Anyways, best friend is such a dumb word. I'd say besties. Besties. There's a couple of them in the East here that really solid, solid brothers. Anyhow, so anyhow, it comes up to 4. Oh no, William had 2 other friends too. So 3 of William's friends, my friend, 3 William's friends, my friend and his brother. That's 5. And William and I. So that's like 7 people I've ever been in this apartment since I moved in. Like even stepped foot. Well, I suppose the landlord probably snuck in a couple times, but I don't care about that. Doesn't count. 7 people, including myself and William. Whoops. So this party this weekend is kind of a big deal, I suppose. Opening it up. Not even really doing much. We're still living on like, patio furniture and stuff, so that's okay. Very minimalist here. No stove, microwave, any of those sort of things. You have a fridge, washing machine, dryer. We'll stop there with the number of appliances. Like, no stove. Who doesn't have a stove? Super weird. Anyways, I'm not sure if Frank's around. Just talking about my weird old apartment. So yeah, we're going to clean it out. Basically, like, line a bunch of stuff up that needs to stay up here. Stuff that really doesn't need to be anywhere. Basically, for tomorrow, we're just going to pack it all in the closet, as it were, like the basement locker. Excuse me. And then, really wondering about Frank here. And then work about that later, as it were. In terms of just clear out the space so that we can have a party tomorrow. Then the next day. It's a 2-day party. We call it a 47-hour. What did I call it? A 47-hour happening. Mandalamus, a 47-hour happening from midnight Friday night to midnight Sunday night. The full 47 hours. But then I set up the schedule. I said, here's the schedule for Saturday. Saturday morning, we're going to be cleaning. Everyone's invited. Saturday afternoon, swimming pool. Everyone's invited. Saturday evening, a 5 to 7 that lasts to whenever. Everyone's invited. Oh, here comes Frank, I think. Oh, buddy. So, now we're welcome to 7. Well,
Oh,
oh,
finally.
there
Okay,
it
I'm
is.
sorry about
Yes.
that.
No problem.
Oh,
How's it going?
I had to go to the bathroom. I had to have a constitution,
A
the right one.
constitution? Yeah,
Constitution.
you Americans and your constitutions.
Yeah, well, it's kept us around for
Just
what?
one. Just one
Well, since 17,
constitution.
you know, well, it's kept us good since 1776. So it hasn't needed to be reformed or anything. Hi, hello.
Oh, he doesn't even hear you.
Oh,
Here,
he doesn't hear.
Daddy's
Hello.
got hair. Hey, Daddy's shit.
Oh, look at all that hair. Hi, hello.
Do you wanna
He's so
cut your
cute.
hair, William? Tu veux couper tes cheveux?
No.
No. Et pourquoi?
He, he, looking.
Non, mais pourquoi tu veux pas couper des cheveux? Tu peux le dire en français. Parce que tu
I'm
trouves
sorry, I
ça
don't
beau.
speak too much French.
No, I said he should say why he doesn't want to cut his hair. I would translate it into English.
I wish I had, some hair to cut.
Regarde, c'est ça, Frank, il a dit, oh, j'ai même pas de cheveux que couper, moi. He has the opposite
He looks
problem
a
as
little
you.
tired. He looks a little
Yeah,
tired.
it's like 11 o'clock at night. It's like 11:30 for us.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
where he
he's
gets
only
his energy
20.
from. It's not from me. It must from it's from his mom's side, I think.
No, I have no energy either.
I
Oh,
have too
got a
much.
story for you.
Excuse me, what happened?
Yeah. That's why I can never be ADHD. ADD, fine. The H, forget about it.
Yeah.
Hyperactivity is not my, is not my thing. Okay, so
So what's up?
tell us.
Yeah.
Well, I went to see my brother today. And as I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking in, some guy said they got good food in the cafeteria in this particular nursing home. Turns out that they
Mm-hmm.
don't, but that's another story. But I meet a guy there, and he says he needs change of a 20. he wants to get some food in the vending machines downstairs. He's one of the he's in there temporarily again for rehabilitation. A lot of people like that in there, especially on the third floor where my brother is. So
Hmm.
I said, I don't have any change for you because it's for my brother. He wants to use the vending machine also. But can I buy you something? Okay. He's taken aback a little bit. Again, he's
So
taken
yeah.
aback a little bit. So I get him his candy, and he says, people don't usually do that. I said, I'm a Christian, first of all, and I try to live like I try to give what I when I can. If anybody needs something, it doesn't matter. I never expect anything back. I always give. I never expect anything. When I had the money, I did have money when I was like in my teens, 20s. I gave it to people. I never expected anything back. And now that I said to him, now that I'm a little bit in trouble, not many people are coming to help me. And I didn't mention you or anybody else. I just mentioned close family and friends. I just met you like a couple of months ago. So,
Hmm.
um, so then I'm thinking to myself tonight, did I do that for him because it's my nature to give, or is it because that I'm a practicing Christian? But then I'm thinking, is my nature being Christian? Is my nature just being giving?
Hmm.
And is just God coming through me giving even more? So
That's
that's what
the
I'm thinking about.
that's a statistical problem. Is it like causation or just correlation? Is one causing the
Right,
other, or is it just
right.
they go hand in hand? Like you're going to be one
Or
and the other. It's not
right,
like one caused the other one.
but
Yeah, no, I like it.
but
That's a
but
good. That's
but now I'm thinking people who were bad found God. They were like this good became this good, but people who were like already good over here became even better when they found God. So it's like
mm.
everything that you possibly can do, God makes it better. God, and He rewards you in the end.
Well, if again, that gets back to the first point I made though. Like, where is the? I need the numbers behind that. I need to see that, like
Right?
again,
Yeah.
just a wave of people, or just like again, it's people going into the church. They're they're getting more GPA, or they're getting more higher crime or lower crime rates and these kind of things, or just like I see what you're saying, and I think that again, it works that when people get saved in the way or when they get good with themselves in the way they're supposed to, then you see a difference. So every single person would have that kind of different enlightening moment. So that every story that I heard, like Chris or Sean's, I mean, it's because they Sean's, but I meant like I was
Yeah.
going through the Christian ones, but I meant Sean and Jerome and this kind of
Yeah.
thing. But then it's just like that's the thing. Like that was where Christianity worked to bring them to that level of good. Like just bring good people just to better people, and that again, like just it can go in different directions. I think, but just to see that, like again, atheists are being super good people. Like they've found ways to be good people, even if they
You're
call it
right.
something else. Like, and that's just what I observe. And like again, I just need because if it came out like that, like church going people, zero crime rate, atheists, 80% crime rate, then it's just like boom, I'm convinced tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or not so
Right,
shocking,
right,
but
right.
this kind of margins, right? That's what it is.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah, yeah,
but not to
but the
say that
feeling
they're
that
bad
you have for it,
atheists, and
that's definitely
not to say there aren't bad atheists and aren't good
no,
atheists. Like to say there aren't bad Christians and there are good Christians.
yeah.
So the ones that even atheists who don't believe, well, not total nihilism, like we said, doesn't exist, but
Hmm.
self-proclaimed nihilists that do good. Why do they do good for anybody else? What is their overall goal, right? And the Christians who do bad, what is their goal? What is their motivation for doing bad? So
Yeah.
there's some causation there, but I don't think it's enough. The correlation might be a little stronger.
Hmm. It might be, yeah, like, and again, people, as we said last time about Wiccan, that it might be that Wiccan's all like fluffy and green on the top. But if people want something fluffy and green, they tend to go for something else. But if people really
Right.
want the sort of the Sith power, well,
Yeah.
knowing
Right.
that
Then you go
knowing
into
that
right, right.
Wiccan can kind of have the Jedi, but it also has a Sith, well, maybe you find out that like, whoa, 90% of Wiccan are all going in it for Sith because it takes a certain type of person that would be drawn to anything that has the promise of Sith power, right?
All
And
right.
in that same way, so you may be able to see it. Again, it seems like Wiccan are all in the shadows, so
for whatever. But it's hard to again pick out the numbers of that one. Like I scour on YouTube, and it's like, oh well, like there's some like really silly people, but nothing that I could see that would
Yeah,
really think of like
I
demons
got a
coming to life and
perfect.
stuff, right? So,
This is perfect
anyways,
now. I got something to say. I
mm,
got something to say about that. It's a religion doesn't normally change someone because religions are man-made. Christianity, Judaism are not religions. They're relationships with God. So if you're a bad person, you
yeah,
want some kind of power, some, very selfish, you would probably pick a religion, let's say witchcraft or Wiccan, that would benefit you. So you're not basically changing, you're going into something that is more in tune with your own personality. People
yeah,
who become Christians or Jews, you don't usually go into it, especially if they're converts. They don't go into that willingly. They go into it because they've had some kind of revelation,
something,
general or
yeah,
specific, whatever, what have you. God spoke to them directly, and they become a changed person, usually for the better. So
yeah.
I think there's two types of religions: one that'll fuel what you already are, and one that'll change you for the better.
No, that's interesting because when you talk about, and that would be a group I would really like to, you just like spark the interest of the converts because a lot of people, like, we're all born into it. I mean, it doesn't, it's like, why are you going to
Right,
Catholic Church? It's like, I don't know. It's the same one that was on my birth certificate, that kind of thing. Whereas a
right, exactly. I
convert,
was
that's
born
a whole
Catholic.
different story. Like you say, that might take an actual, whoops, a big spark, a little flash in the face or something.
Like Sean.
Something but
Sean
I
the
wonder,
convert. Look at, well, three people that you know: Sean, Jerome, and Luciano. They're all basically converts. I don't know if Luciano's a convert, but Sean and Jerome we know are Christian converts, and look how they changed their lives around. I was born into Catholicism, being Christian, so I wasn't a practicing one for a very long time, but now that I'm practicing and I'm learning more and more about Jesus and the Bible, I'm becoming better than I was before. So like Jerome was lifted up, Sean was lifted up. I don't know if I was lifted up, but I'm trying to be a better person.
yeah. I guess I would be talking more about the conversion from sort of like you say, from just Christianity to Judaism or one of these jumps, moreover, like, or the
Yeah.
sort of, even bigger jump than that or something like this, you know what I mean?
Oh, atheists love the argument that you had before that you were born into the religion. If you're in Middle East, you'd be born Muslim. If you're in America, you'd be born Christian. If you're in Israel, you'd be born Jew, right? It's all that born into. That's a good argument. That's one argument that they use. It's not a very valid one
What do
because
you
there
mean
are
an
more
argument though?
Middle
I'm
Eastern.
just I'm just saying, no, I don't
It's
know.
not,
What do
well,
you mean
no,
by an
well,
argument?
it's a debate tactic, basically, because you believe what you believe because of where you were born. That's a debate tactic that they use. So,
Isn't it
and
true though?
I was going to get that. It's not true because a lot of Muslims are turning to Christians, especially in Africa. There's about 3 million converts to Christianity a year.
No, but it's
Jesus is
just in
appealing to
general,
a
like
lot of
we're
people.
talking, yeah, there's some, but I mean, like
There is some, right?
99% are
No,
gonna,
of
you're
course,
born
yeah,
Muslim, you're gonna be Muslim. Like it's not like,
most
oh, about
likely,
6 years
yeah.
old, you go to the store and say, I want to be this. No, I mean, just like majority of
Right? Oh,
where
yeah,
you're
you're
born,
right.
just like
No,
the majority of the people
for
in
the
the
most
southern
part,
United
no,
States are gonna be
yeah,
Christian. It's just gonna be,
for the
no, that's
most
all I'm
part,
saying.
right.
I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's more rare that people would actually jump from Christianity to Islam or Islam to Christianity. It happens. It was like that
It's not as rare
Muhammad
as you think.
Ali.
'Cause a lot
I
of
mean, it
people,
happens, but it's actually
yeah,
more
it
rare than
does.
I think it's more rare, right?
But
So
I think there are a
I
lot
don't know if
more,
it's an argument or I don't know what it would
Fraser,
prove as a debate tactic, but I think it's just
it
generally
won't.
true, though. It doesn't
But a
prove
lot of,
anything to me,
especially
though.
now, I'm bringing Islam into it because converting outside of to any other religion, leaving Islam is a death sentence. So there are a lot of Muslims, maybe millions every year, that are converting to Christianity, but can't say, or leaving Islam because of ISIS. They're not becoming Christians, they're becoming atheists because they see what ISIS is doing. So they can't publicly say, I'm a Christian, I'm an atheist, and have any kind of safety for them or their family because that's a death sentence
In
right there. So
United
there are a
States?
lot of no in the Middle East, not here,
Okay, but
not
in the
here, Middle
United
East.
States, the Muslims tend to stay Muslim.
Yeah, no,
Like,
well,
and there's
for
no
the
like
most
death
part,
penalty for switching out of Islam
not here.
in the United States. That's
No,
it. So let's say, I mean, in other parts of the world, weird things are happening, but right here, at
well,
least we
I'm
don't
just
have
saying, I'm
that.
just
But
using
so
it as an,
whatever
well, I'm
converts
just using
here.
it
So when we're
as
talking
an
about
example.
converts here, like again, when we're talking
Well, I
before,
want to talk
more
about
highly
converts
educated, we'll
worldwide.
say, in terms of scholar
Well,
of
Fraser,
going to schools.
we have to
Yeah, yeah.
talk about humans all across the globe because everybody is a human being. They're all children of God, and they're all and
Yeah,
we
you
all
know,
have
but
some type of
I
belief
have a
system.
hard time relating to someone in a war zone when we're talking about, the possibility of conversion. I'm thinking about people more in the same sort of
All right,
luxurious lifestyle that we're living. So, like Muslims here, that when something like this, we're talking about this, there's no death penalty for them. Like, there's no
well, I
neighborly
didn't want to
Muslim
bring
saying,
Muslims into
you convert and we're going to kill you. No one was like, you know what I
well,
mean?
I don't want to bring Islam into it specifically. Just all
No, no,
religions
no, no, no,
and,
no. But
and
I'm
a
just
bundle.
saying,
Okay. No,
it's
no, I
fine.
understand. I understand.
It
I
might be a
understand exactly where you're
caliphate or
coming from.
something like this, but in the United States, it's just not one that's practiced, like the death penalty for converting out of Islam. I know families that, again, one or the other of the kids decides, no, that's not their thing. The parents aren't going to kill them. Like,
I
obviously,
don't know
this
if
is
it goes there.
Canada, right?
No, but I'm
You
just
know what I
saying that
mean? So
there
anyways,
are
no, no,
some.
no, but I understand what you mean. I understand there's these kind of things for converting that are different from one theology to the other. I understand your point
Yes.
on that. But like I say,
Yeah. Okay.
I need to see that, like, whoops, there are like a million murders a year for people trying to convert out of Islam to say that that'll convince me as a sort of like that's happening even globally. Like it's just I understand, especially in ISIS areas, there's certain areas of the world so hot that that just doesn't happen. But even people I know from Iran, it's just like even now there's women thrown off the veil, right? Literally,
Yeah.
like it's in the news. It's like no, we're
Yes.
not waiting,
Yeah.
and
There's a, well,
that's an Islamic State. Like literally,
yeah.
that's one of the few that's actually an
Yeah.
Islamic State.
It's run
So,
by the run by the
but other
Ayatollah.
than
Yeah.
the
They're very
Islamic
hardcore.
or no, the Islamic State, like the IS or ISIS or whatever,
Yeah.
there people are getting like
Well,
slaughtered
No,
for just
Iran is a
looking the wrong
state-run
way.
Islamic state. So, yeah,
But
the Sharia is anywhere you see Sharia enforced, uh, and, hardcore enforced, it's usually an Islamic-run state. Just when they lighten up Sharia
but
laws a
it's
little
so
bit,
rare.
people tend to have more
Whoa, that's
freedom.
very rare though, Frank.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
is.
rare in the world that an Islamic nation would have that strict application.
It's actually become. It was rare before Carter.
It's
After
very rare
Carter,
right now.
when it's
It's very rare
and
right now.
it's not as right. It's not as enforced.
It
There
is
are
very
very
rare
few
right now,
states.
Frank.
There are very few Islamic states that have hardcore Sharia. In fact, when the
That's
Muslim
right.
Brotherhood came into power in Egypt, they had a revolution because people did not like Sharia law. They did not. They kind of overthrew the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So that
That's it.
hardcore Sharia is not
It was out.
enforced, but it's like a light. It's like a Sharia light, like Sharia
But it was
2%.
out. Like you say, in
Yeah.
Egypt, it was
No.
out.
Yeah.
The ones that
It
we
was
see the
out pretty
hardest
much.
is
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, maybe Saudi Arabia and Iran. Maybe we talk a
Saudi
little
Arabia,
bit, but
Iran,
Saudi Arabia, it might be the
Turkey.
hardest one. Iran, it's already starting to loosen up. And so there's some of those, like, there's some places in perhaps certain places where they're practicing some
Pakistan,
really hard stuff, but very
Saudi
rare.
Arabia, Pakistan, Yemen.
And luckily so.
I would say Libya to a point. Uh, God, there's so many countries like that.
That's it. And it's just so few. Like we can find horrible examples, but it's actually in a very few number of places in the world. And that's lucky, and I'm glad for that. But I
Me
understand. So it's
too.
just like it's happening a very
Oh, well,
few, so
right.
I don't want examples like that to be overblown. So things like any of the
Oh, of
most
course
horrible
not. No,
things we're talking about. But yeah, yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
big for that time.
That
But I'm just saying,
you know, yeah,
people who convert to
yeah.
Christianity usually become better people, and the hardcore converts, like people like Sean and Jerome, become preachers and street preachers, and those are the ones that are really touched by the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit. Those are the ones that go out and try to save as many souls for God as they can. It's amazing
No,
to
and
be a
that's
street
great.
preacher.
And that is too.
Yeah.
And that's the perfection of it, is just that for me, there is so many different paths. And the fact that, again, if we can admit that people were born into a certain way, they're shown love by their parents, and everyone's loving around them. That's the thing they're going to do. And to move to the other side of the world to do something else, it would take a big flash in the face to do it.
Oh yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that just again, that just informs me that there's different ways to find love, and that they're all kind of set out here for us in a certain sense. There is different, like you say, there's poisonous things
Well,
and different
I
beliefs,
want to
but
say,
there's mostly
Fraser,
it's
that
just
there's
poisonous people that try and abuse power, basically. So that, when you find these small examples that are even diminishing, like I say, even the control over women in Iran that we thought maybe that would never go down, it's going down. Same thing in
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, like women can drive now. So in all these places where we think these are horrible things that are happening, they're diminishing. They're diminishing in frequency. So even in something like that, it's going down, just like in every other culture. It's like there's terrible things, but once everyone sees it and and love starts guiding it, then these horrible things, atrocities, start happening less and less, but all over the place, not just in Christian nations, but all over the place. And so that's what, again, that I feel like everyone's got love inside of them. Some things get out of balance, but they come back into balance. No matter what the guiding books, guiding principles, guiding
Even if
anything,
it takes
love
years
comes
and years
back.
and years, it does. There is a balance, yeah. Even if it
It
takes
does.
years to come to it, it does.
Yeah.
And
But it does, yeah.
there are many paths. There are many paths people take to God, but there's only one path to one God. You know, like there's all these crossroads, but one path leads to God. Right? You take different paths to get to that one path, but that one path is the only one that we should take. Even what the Bible says, the road is narrow, or wide is the path. I forget what it is, but wide is the path to evil, narrow is the road to God. You should walk the narrow path. It's hard. It's a hard thing.
It's hard to walk past.
It's
It's hard to walk
not
on
an
love,
easy
but
path
it's
to
very
walk.
individual. It's very personal. It's very individual, and each one is going to have to, like, based on where they started, their path towards the other point is different than from where someone else started. It's a very fine path.
Your
So
path,
those two paths would
your
be the
path is
exact
different
same
from
path.
mine. Right.
It's a very fine path. I don't want 7 billion people on my path. There's not enough room. It's a very fine path. I like that. I'm sorry, but I really have to get this one off to bed. This one off to bed is really, I really have to get him off to. Sorry, I should probably cut this off, but this one is just, he's like tired as nuts, but he's not even going to pass out until I stop talking. So I got to stop talking.
Okay, so
I don't know. He's just nuts.
You want to continue? Or you want to go tomorrow?
Well, let's go tomorrow. I'm actually doing this, like I started this video. I was going to tell you all about it, but then as I was waiting, I just blah, 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 all about this party that we're doing this weekend. So we're doing this little party this weekend. William and I anyone who wants to is coming over. We're just going to have a weekend like fun anyways, and thought that, hey, that would be fun if we had other people. So the same kind of schedule, but we invited it. I just put it on Facebook as a Facebook event. And it was like, I got to clean up my apartment now. So it was a big motivator. So today and tomorrow morning, it's going to be a big rush to clean up. And then tomorrow evening will probably be, there'll probably be, I don't know how many people over here. But anyway, so it might have to be till Monday that if you're up. Yeah.
All right, so that's fine. All right.
Yeah.
Don't have fun.
But anyways, it was good catching up to you. I'm glad I saw you.
That was good. It was a good conversation. At least we talked about God this time.
Absolutely. Every one of my titles says like either conversing with God or, oh no, they don't all say that. Well, I covered them up with it's you because I have to say finding Frank and Fraser, but it used to be seeking truth,
right.
Conversing with God or something. Anyways.
So, well, this is seeking truth, finding out how God changes us for the better with Frank and Fraser. All right, Fraser. Good night. God bless. I'll talk to you Monday.
Talk to you later. Yeah. Bye.